Can you just say yes if it's clearly visible, the screen as well as audible? Awesome. So when we talk about blockchain and Web3, obviously the first question is this a good time to get into the field? Because right now we are in the midst of what we call a crypto crash. Well, I'll be honest with you, I've been in this industry since 2015, and a lot of such crashes come and go. So we don't have to really take that very seriously, because what happens is, let's take an example of the conventional world. If Colgate share price falls in the market, does that mean Colgate will fire all its employees? No. People will still continue to buy Colgate. Investors lose money when the stock markets fall. Same is the case in crypto. The projects have already raised their money, they've given their tokens, and now those tokens value have fallen. So it's the investors who are losing, not really the projects. So there are lots of very interesting projects which have raised a huge amount of money. And these are around crypto assets, DAOs, DeFi, NFTs, metaverse, play to earn games, Web3. So actually, there are a lot of these terms which people keep throwing all the time. So when you say Web3, what do you really mean? Can someone type that in and tell me, when I use the term Web3, what do we mean? Would anyone like to give me their suggestions or what they think the term Web3 means? Okay, Dev says blockchain. Decentralized system, Akash, okay. So crypto, okay. So actually you're right, all of you are right. So these are just buzzwords, right? So let's not get too confused with what those things mean. Yeah, decentralized system and all that. We are never going to have a situation where a blockchain is going to run independently without connection to so many other technologies. Like when you're making a dApp, it does not mean everything is developed on top of a blockchain. You're going to use conventional technologies, programming languages, databases. That application is going to connect to a blockchain usually through an API service. So, you could become a blockchain developer, so to say, with zero knowledge of blockchain. All you need to know is how to connect APIs, right? So that is one thing that I need all of you to clearly understand. Whether you use words like crypto, blockchain, Web3, I don't really care what people say. At the end of the day, it's about blockchain technology interacting with regular technology, right? So now let's try to go in a little deeper and see how does that actually work. First of all, how is it that you can learn? There's tons of really good free learning material out there. I'm not trying to say that people who run paid courses are not doing a good job. Well, it depends from course to course. But I think at least in our field, there is way too much information available of very high quality. And I'm going to show you some of that. So it kind of makes me feel you don't really need to do a paid program. And I would in fact recommend, I'll give you some recommendations of free resources that I think all of you should use. But one thing you've got to remember, it's not easy. This field is a little complex and you're going to have to work hard, right? No matter what anyone says, it is going to be tough. Now, the first thing that I want all you guys to do is I made a very simple video called Learn Blockchain in 60 minutes, right? Whether you're an entrepreneur, developer, anyone, to give you a very basic understanding of conceptually what does a blockchain look like you can see on the screen here, what a node actually is, how do you connect and how do you understand that. So the first thing I want all of you guys to do after this session is go to my YouTube channel and watch this one single video. So Pratik has asked a question, what languages should we know? So Pratik, I'm going to be answering this very soon. The short answer is it doesn't matter what language you know, because you're ultimately going to use whatever existing language you have to connect to APIs. So almost all the latest languages are good enough. You don't need to learn anything new just because of blockchain. And I'll explain that shortly. Okay. Then we come to the second one. So I see an interesting question here from Abhishek. When building a project, is there one chain easier than others to build upon? That's an excellent question and I'm going to answer that. So I would say there are actually only 3 blockchains in the world that anybody needs to know, right? That's the Bitcoin blockchain. And of course, there are some related blockchains around it. There's Ethereum and there's Binance Smart Chain. You don't need another chain. And I would say in my experience, Ethereum and Binance are kind of equally easy to use. Right. So Abhishek, the answer to your question is depending upon what you're trying to do. As of today, I think for anything and everything, Binance Smart Chain is the best option. And I'm going to explain more on that. So when it comes to Ethereum, that has to be your first blockchain because that's what started the whole decentralized finance and smart contracts running on blockchain. It all started with Ethereum, right? So it is the number one platform. As of right now, yes, it's become quite expensive. Transaction speeds are slow, but guess what? It still is the number one, right? And we are expecting something called the merge to come in very soon, where as of today, there's something called the beacon chain, which is running, which is on proof of stake. Ethereum, which is on proof of work, they're going to merge very soon. And once that happens, we expect Ethereum speeds, transaction fee, everything to improve. So all you need to do is go to ethereum.org/en/developers, and you've got a ton of learning material there. All the tutorials and standards and anything that you need is there. So that's a very, very easy thing to do. Let me answer some questions. Someone said, what will be the role of ML in the blockchain space? So I'm presuming when you say ML, you're talking about machine learning. So like I said, blockchains are not running independently. A lot of times we need to take the data and then we need to analyze it and streamline it and try to get some sense out of it. That's where machine learning comes in. Dave, I hope that's what ML means for you, machine learning. So yes, we do take a lot of this data and run it through machine learning algorithms. Is blockchain purely a technical domain or a spoke for product managers or business conduct? It has it for everyone, but specifically what I'm talking to you guys about is the technical part, because see, I'm a blockchain architect by profession. So for me, I'm not a product manager or a business consultant, so I wouldn't be the right guy to advise you on that. So that's the reason I'm restricting myself to talking about the tech. Jatin says, I have learned Solidity and Ethereum blockchain, but don't want to continue. Is there anything for analysts or non-tech? Yes, Jatin, there are lots and lots of opportunities. So you could go into the security part, you could go into the architecture part, or then you could go into the business consulting. But like I said, I may not be the right guy to advise you on that. Jyoti says that what role Web3 will play in metaverse. So I only see metaverse using the NFTs or the tokens. I see that making sense. But other than that, I don't see metaverse using much of blockchain. I think it's just going to be restricted to the NFTs, because in the metaverse you need to carry assets, right? You can trade them, buy them, sell them. Those are all going to be ultimately NFTs. What skills to enter the DeFi? I'm coming to that, Shivam. And if you're building a company, and what do you see? What's a good resource? Vivan, I'm not sure I understand. If you are building a company and what to see how blockchain can solve problems. Okay, so I did a session recently, Viman, on blockchain use cases. So in that, I've tried to cover a lot of the use cases that blockchain can do. So, but for someone like Creator, I think blockchain would be a good way to, maybe bring your token system. So if your creators want to tokenize something or they want to issue NFTs, that's where it'll probably do well. How to hire blockchain devs? Yeah, that's a good question to ask, because the problem that I see when I look to hire is that many people have done courses, but they don't seem to have much practical knowledge. They're not able to really apply whatever they've learned in a practical way. So yeah, that is a problem right now. Getting good resources, it is a problem, right? The second thing that I want to discuss is step 3. Once you've done with Ethereum, you need to understand BNB Smart Chain. So now Binance has actually changed the name. BNB Smart Chain is what they now call it. That's the new name. They've done some rebranding. And I would say it's the second most important. And as of today, it's the only platform I use, because Ethereum's costly. I completely rely only on Binance Smart Chain. And I would really want you guys to start learning it. Again, it's got very good learning resources. So bnbchain.world/en/smart chain. Perfect place to begin. So Mrunal asked, what chain should I prefer to launch NFT? I would say Binance Smart Chain. Absolutely no doubt in my mind about that. Ethereum would be good, but the point is, like I said, it's too expensive right now. And by the way, you can even start doing this stuff on Bitcoin. So, we have something called Stacks. We have a whole bunch of merged mining blockchains. In fact, if you want to know and test your knowledge of Bitcoin, I'm doing a Bitcoin quiz today at 5:30. So maybe you guys can join in for that later. So you could do this on Bitcoin, but as of today, I would very strongly recommend BNB Smart Chain, right? So these are the blockchains you really need to know, Ethereum and BNB chain. The next thing that I want you to understand is the importance of blockchain APIs. You could actually be a very good blockchain developer with zero knowledge of Ethereum, Binance, or any blockchain if you know how to integrate APIs. So one example I'm giving you is of something called Tatum. So what you do is, for example, Tatum JS, Tatum REST API. you can simply take their APIs, connect it to your platform, application, dApp, whatever you're building. It will take care of everything. You just need to do integration. And what they've done is they support about 20 plus blockchain, and the terminology, the syntax is more or less the same. So tomorrow when you want to change the blockchain, you just got to make very slight changes, and immediately you are now connecting to a new blockchain. So don't have to get into solidity at this time. I would say much better become an expert in API integration, and then you will be able to work across almost all the blockchains that are there. Of course, usually they support the EVM blockchain, but I think they also do Solana and others. But Bharatraj wants to know about Luna and UST. Well, this won't be the right one session for it. Maybe we'll do something later. I'm today only focusing on becoming a developer. So maybe we'll have a crypto session later. We'll talk about Luna and UST. Okay. Now, I hope you guys have understood what Tatum is. So just go to tatum.io. Maybe right now you can open it on the screen, and you'll see it's very easy to actually get started with it and to use it to create your solutions. Finally, I'd like to say that, of course, step 5 is tokens. So most of the time, I mean, in our field, we need to create tokens for our clients, right? So usually these tokens are going to be ERC20, which is fungible, ERC721, which is non-fungible, and then we also have ERC1155. Now, it's very important for you to understand that you don't need to do this from the ground up. And in fact, you shouldn't, because that's where you're more likely to make mistakes, and that's what leads to a lot of hacks which happen and exploits which take place. So I want you to go to a platform called Open Zeppelin. The spelling is here, OpenZeppelin.com. So what these guys have done is they've taken all the best contract templates, smart contract templates, and made it available to the world for free. They've also put something which is called the wizard, where you can basically just tick, 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 and create your tokens. So this is something which I would recommend to everyone, even if you are an experienced developer, unless what you need to do is very complex and you're making a very customized token. If not, just use the Open Zeppelin templates and don't try to create your own, because when you create your own and they are not adequately tested and audited, that's why problems take place. Yeah, someone's asked a question about ERC 721 and 20. Honestly speaking, there's not too much of a difference. 20 is supposed to be for fungible and 721 for non-fungible. So in addition to whatever you put in ERC20, in 721, you usually put a URL, which tells you where information about that token is also available. So, you know, where, let's say, if the high resolution image, which relates to the NFT, is on an IPFS server, then the NFT, the 721 would also have a link to where that information is available. Otherwise, there's not too much of a difference between them, right? So what are the career opportunities in blockchain for CAs and crypto trading investment? Good question, Kalabni, but that's something I would discuss maybe in a separate session. Today's is specifically for this, and maybe next week I'll do a session for the finance people. But for today, it's only for the techies. And finally, I need you to understand that you have to be good at networking, right? So learn how to set up and manage and secure servers, cloud servers. And I would say DigitalOcean is one of the simplest ones available out there. You could use AWS, Azure, IBM Cloud, any of them, Google Cloud. But I find DigitalOcean the best for beginners. Learn to set up various cloud servers. So whether it's Linux, different flavors of it, like Red Hat, Ubuntu. So learn how to set it up, learn how to secure it. Simple things like, you know, the firewall, which ports to shut, how to set up multiple accounts, how to not do everything through the root account, and those kind of things. Then look at performance optimization, because see, ultimately blockchain need to run on nodes, and each of those nodes needs to be secure, otherwise that becomes a point for exploit. So how to optimize the performance of a node, how to upgrade the node and the chain, because see, blockchains keep getting upgraded. We have soft forks, we have hard forks. So how do you actually do the upgrade on nodes? Then how do you back up and restore a node? Then a very, very important thing you need to understand is cold nodes, which are disconnected from the blockchain. You can use them for offline signing and all. It's a very, very cool thing. You need to really know how to handle cold nodes and wallets. And finally, of course, like I said, securing. So I would say these are the important things that you need to figure out. And let me just take some questions. What are the scope available in metaverse? That's a good question. So I believe a lot of the metaverse that we are hearing about today is just hype. I've been using metaverse since 2003, which is about what, 18 years ago, 19 years ago. Second Life is still there, but it's still not really picked up the way we thought it would. So I'm a little not so bullish on metaverse. I think Facebook will probably do it the best, considering that they get social better than anyone else. So a lot of the private metaverses, or rather the other metaverses, whether it's Decentraland or Axie or so many others, I really don't know how they're going to do. I'm not very confident about them. Uh, uh, Someone says he's a CA with background in taxes with the Big Four. Okay, for you, I would say blockchain finance would be a better thing. Maybe I'll do a session on that next week. But tech, I wouldn't recommend for you. Right? So that's the answer for both your questions. Nagesh says, how do I start as a complete beginner? Like how to start from my first year engineering. Excellent. Now you are the kind of perfect audience which I'm trying to talk to, right? So like I said, you start with my basic video of the 60-minute introduction to blockchain. Then I would say you start off with side by side, start learning PHP or Node.js. Get your hands dirty with JavaScript, right? Node.js is one of the good ones there, and start with Tatum. So when you go to their site, you will realize that all their APIs can be used with a whole bunch of programming languages, and they give you the code. They show you how to do it. So whichever languages they are supporting, I would say pick one of those languages. So Nagesh, I hope it helps. And you're actually starting at the absolute perfect time. First year of engineering is the best time to start something. How can we get involved with live blockchain projects to get practical experience? Yeah, that's a very good question. So maybe follow the Discord groups of various blockchain projects. Many of them keep hiring interns, and maybe that's a good way to start. Be a part of LinkedIn. A lot of people do hire from there also. And just look at the various job sites that are available. They have a lot of internships there. Maybe that's a good way to start. Pankaj says, what are the career opportunities for people with data engineering, data science? So I'm not really sure how that fits in here. Like I said, blockchains do generate data which can be analyzed, but again, that's not really my core area. So I'm not sure, Pankaj, how you would be able to fit in. But like I said, if you're a techie, then what I've just told you would probably be the right approach. Venkat says, roadmap for becoming a blockchain developer, sequence of languages to learn. Yeah, that's a good point. So what I've done here on the screen, I would say go with that particular order. So if I just quickly go through it again, you're starting with this simple 60-minute video. Once that's done, I would say, recommend Ethereum's a good way to go. After Ethereum, Binance, BNB Smart Chain. Then we look at the blockchain APIs, which is where Tatum comes into the picture. Then you could look at Open Zeppelin and creating tokens, and you can use testnets. You can actually deploy tokens on the testnet. You can even deploy tokens on mainnets. If on Binance is pretty cheap, you could just do that for practice also. So I would say kind of these are more or less the steps. Now networking, you could do right at the beginning or you could do right at the end. So ideally, if you're ready to work hard at it, I don't think it should take you more than 1 month. I mean, 1 month is outer. In 1 month, I think you should be a pretty good developer, ready for the real world. I mean, your theoretical, practical knowledge should be in place, and then you need real world experience. Bharatraj says, tell me about hi-fi. Sure, I will, but I don't like talking about my own project when I'm talking about a generic topic. So maybe I'll go deeper into hi-fi in a separate session, Bharatraj. From LinkedIn, someone asked blockchain forensics. 1 second. Oh yeah, that's a very good question. I'm extremely passionate about forensics. You know, I come from a cyber investigation background and I've been doing forensics for a very long time. Next week, I'm starting something really, really interesting in the blockchain investigation and forensics space. So I think it's next Tuesday, I'm going to make the announcement. So whoever asked that question, just give me till Tuesday. And yes, crypto forensics and investigation, there is a whole different ballgame. Some elements of conventional forensics fits in, but there's a lot of very interesting new things in that. Someone else has asked, they have a testing background. Well, every blockchain solution needs testing. So testers are required absolutely everywhere, right? How to develop metaverse? Okay, so you're not going to build your own metaverse. Ideally, you would be taking one of the existing metaverses. So Facebook's meta when it comes out, or Decentraland or Axie, and depending upon your client, you would help set up solutions for them on existing metaverses. I would not recommend anyone starting their own metaverse. There's just way too much complexity and way too much money you're going to need. And you're already going to be competing with multi-billion-dollar organizations. So just look at what they're doing and try to develop, make it easy for your clients to go live. Someone from LinkedIn says he's 25 years experience, awesome, which kind of means you're more or less my age. What do you suggest? So it would depend what your experience is on. So maybe if you could tell me a little more that in these 25 years, what have you really done? So are you from the tech side? Are you from the finance side? Emotional intelligence, human-centric, soft skills, marketing, communication. Again, that's something we could probably talk in a separate session. Saptoshi says, as a blockchain developer, I believe one implementing applications on top of existing blockchains. So how do you actually contribute to performance optimization of nodes? So that's a good question. So even though we are using some other blockchain, the node's performance depends a lot on the node itself, right? So what you must remember is that blockchains don't have their own operating systems. You set up an operating system which is supported by the blockchain and then install the framework on this. So it's quite important that you get that right. And depending on the RAM, depending on how you have set up everything, depending on your firewalls and other things, a lot of performance optimization can be done. Maybe we'll go deeper into that in some other session, right? In fact, Saptarshi, you will get some of these answers in my Learn Blockchain in 60 minutes. I hope you get some answers in that also. So learning resources for step 6, I would say start with DigitalOcean. They've got a ton of resources. Best place to start. And now they've even got specific resources around blockchain nodes. And Aniket, you can also look at Quick Nodes. It's spelled QUIKNODES, I think. That's another good place for blockchain nodes and blockchain networking knowledge. Okay, I see a lot of other questions also coming. Unfortunately, I am going to have to break off very soon because at 4:30 I'm doing this session, but in Hindi. So, and after that 5:30 is the quiz. So if you guys are interested and if you want me to say build a course around this, so as you know, I don't charge for my courses. It would be a free course, but if you want me to go into blockchain development, these steps that I spoke to you about, well, then kind of just connect to me on social media and let me know that's something you want and maybe I'll build something around it. Tell us where we can find a mentor for people. Well, I'm the mentor here, right? That's the reason I keep connecting to you guys. So I'm a good place to start. And so Shivam, I hope that answers your question. And even if you use Tatum as a developer, we have to learn. No, you don't have to. So if you're using Tatum, you kind of honestly don't need to learn anything about blockchain. Because like I said, you're going to be using their software development kit or you're going to be using their APIs. You would really need to understand Solidity, for example, if you're building something highly customized. Because even if you want to do a simple smart contract, you could just use a template from OpenZeppelin, right? So you would try to build your own smart contracts only if what you're trying to do is really complex, right? Let me look at Amol's question. Okay. Oh yeah, Amol, your background seems amazing. So for you, it should be fairly easy. Just go through these 6 steps that I said, and I think you'll be up and running pretty soon. So it was really nice chatting to all of you guys. And like I said, if you want me to do more sessions on this, let me know. And maybe I could go deeper into it and, we could take each at a time and let's say go into Ethereum in depth and then Binance in depth and so many other things we could do. So definitely I look forward to more interactions with you guys. And I hope to see you guys at 5:30 for the quiz. Today's quiz is on Bitcoin. So let's see what your knowledge level in Bitcoin is. So thanks so much. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.